Hi there, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Aha, great. Ah, long last. Welcome everybody. Right, so we better get started, haven't we, while we've still got something to see. I've got various things to show you to begin with, and then we'll go through the textury stuff afterwards. Those of you that went to Maryland did some pewter work, and I thought you might like to see one that I did a long time ago. This is a jewellery box, and these are the sides. Okay, I'm just showing you this for fun. Okay. Now, indigo dyeing, which of course I've now lost. Oh, here it is. I showed you these when they were all wrapped up, ready to go in the dye vat. And this one was the one that was folded into triangles. And then each of the corners of the triangle was held together with a peg. And this is the result that you get when after it's been dyed and washed. Could you all see that? This is one. The next one, I think it's called shibori. I wrapped this one round a tube. Wrapped it round a tube, and then tied it with string. I actually tied it with thread, and then scrunched the two ends together. Scrunched the two ends together so that they were all scrunched across the tube. This one, this one again was folded into a small triangle. And again, you can see where it was held in the corners with pegs. I folded it, I concertinaed this one. So it was folded like so and back on itself. And again, back peg this side. Sorry, I had a peg here and another one on this side. And that was the result of that one. This small one was done in a similar way. And this, you remember I did another one where I tied pebbles into the fabric, lots of little pebbles, and I tied them round with the with thread and dipped it in the dye vat. And then when I undid the thread, that was the result of that one. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use these yet, but they will be stitched eventually. I also did a skein of thread, and then this one that's all wound up is what was used to tie these together. So they all got dyed as well, and they make useful threads for stitching. And these are just some odds and ends of bits left over. So I just have fun with those. But before I can start cutting into them, we have our guild exhibition, Stitchers Group exhibition, starting next Monday, and they want us to put these into the exhibition so that newcomers can see the sort of things we do. I'm just trying to keep these so that they don't get too creased. So put those out of the way. The other thing that I did was, oh yes, on Saturday we had and what it is you start with a straight piece of in this case paper, and you wind it round, and then you have a piece that starts at the same width and is tapered down at the other end, and then I put a third one on the top, and then this is one of those eyelets. It's glued in, not hammered in as you would normally do with an eyelet. It was a bit of fun and I enjoyed doing it. The next thing I want to show you is when the girls went to Maryland, I sent a little embroidery for CB, and this was the one that I sent to her. This was stamped with a wood block. Then I cut the stamped with the wooden block, and then it was mounted. The fabric was mounted onto felt, which I then cut out, and then I made it bigger by stitching around the outside. Here's a close-up. Sorry, people are still having trouble, are they? Well, I'm not having any buffering here. It seems to be straightforward here, so I suggest that you either try refreshing or you listen to as much as you can and then watch the video. I don't know what else to suggest unless Jean's got any ideas. I don't understand why the sound's crackling because there's no reason why it should. It's just my just using the webcam like what Joan told me to. Glad you like the stitching. Sorry, Dee Dee. And hi to all of those that I haven't spoken to. Good to see you here. Yes, I did choose the camera mic. It comes up automatically like that. And just for completeness, this is a similar piece as I did for Joan for either Christmas or her birthday. I've forgotten which now. Don't know if I can get that any closer for you. Don't seem to be able to get it any closer. I don't know why. Okay. I haven't got the piece here with me, so I can't show it you for real because Joan's got it. Okay. Now, let's talk about the textures. I'm not going to do very much with them because those of you that saw Janet's stream yesterday will have seen the bones of how it's actually done. And so I thought that I would show you some things that you can do with it and various other ways of achieving texture. And one of them, which Eileen asked me to show, is I've stenciled through here with expander print. Which is something like, some people call it puff paint, but it's the puff paint is, by my understanding, it doesn't work as well. And what you do is you apply it like that, and then you heat it. And you see it's all puffing up. And you can do the same thing on fabric. I did the same design on my fabric. And once you've got to this stage, you can then paint it or rub over it. I've got, I don't know if this, how this will work. I've got these metallic rub-ons. Let's see. With a bit of effort, you can get a really nice solid surface. So that was that one, and that's what it looked like close up on the card. Now, the other thing you can do to get the texture is this is I don't know how much of this you'll see. This is crackling paste, and you can see it with a thin layer at the top. Sorry, it's quite hard to get this in. That's better. The thin layer at the top, you get very fine crackles. And if you put a thicker layer on, you get nice deep crackles. And I like that effect. I only did this morning, it just air dried in the sun. I've got various I've got a sand gel by Liquitex. Of course, Janet made her own, which is even cleverer. And this one is a fibre paste, a golden fibre paste. And that's got little, well, as it says, fibres in it. And you can also add texture with all sorts of things, but these are art stones. They're extremely, sorry, this is the largest size, and they're extremely light. In terms of size, I suppose they're about 1/4 of an inch in diameter. And then there's a smaller size there, and there's an even smaller one. You when we were speaking about scrim yesterday at Janet's, I like to use this, which is builder's scrim. It's what they use for joints. It's quite hard to get the cotton one now because they've changed to using plastic, but you can distort it and really get some nice effects with it. Just done a little bit. And you lay that into the texture paste. What else have I got? What else have I got? The best train of thought's gone. You can also take ordinary moulding paste and tear up either tissues or toilet paper into small pieces, and using your palette knife mix it together, and you can get a thick enough paste that you can then mold with your fingers. I will do some of these, and I'll show you some finished pieces probably next time. I've had too much on this last couple of weeks to actually do it, to show you. But you can mark make with all sorts of tools. I don't know if any of the rest of you bought these from Wish. That's one way. That's another design. And another. You can get so many different patterns, and surprisingly, with care, these could also be used on a jelly plate because they're very smooth. They're not in any way sharp. You would have to be careful, obviously, on a jelly plate because you wouldn't want to mark it. But these can give you patterns on the jelly plate as well. Yeah, that was the maker's name on them, and there are nine different tools in the pack. And as you know from Wish, they cost next to nothing, but you do pay postage. So that's that. When you apply what is, the best way to do it is to have a very, very thin layer. I would do, say, a thin layer of a buff colour to begin with, and then paint paint other thin layers of. I would use acrylic for my first layer because that would seal it, and then I would try my various inks and my watercolours on top of that. I did do some of this quite a long time ago, and I've got some samples here to show you. This is one thing you can do with it. This was a piece of, is one thing you can do with it. This was a piece of, I think this was woolen blankets on the back, which I quilted, and I had a piece of this same thin fabric here, which is cotton sheeting, and I quilted over the top of it. Then this had a layer of gesso on it, and then I applied a textured piece on top of that, and that's awaiting painting. But that, you know, I'm just trying to show you that there are interesting things you can do with the pieces when you've done it. Now this is another monstrosity. This is again textured, but it's got sections. It's got a flat section at the bottom, and what the idea of this is that you these will go together to form a vessel. So it's hard to show you that. But you can make a vessel from them. These sides would be stitched together. Okay, and then the tops, you bend over. It's got a piece of wire in, so that you could. I stitched a piece of wire in inside, and this is all stitched on this side. It's stitched all through the texture, all through the texture. But it's nice to have something you can actually do with it. Now, I think you saw one that my trial one previously. This, I was trying to show that you can have a flattish texture on the base. This is a thick, the extra thick molding paste, and then a thinner one in the middle, and then some of those arch stones in it, and then I painted it with acrylics. These are metallic acrylics on here. It's meant to be a sort of seed head, but it was really just trying the techniques. But I should have done it on a canvas, because it's all wriggly. And then this is another finished piece. This is not mine. The tutor made this. This is, I learned these techniques from a UK textile artist called Linda Muck. I'm not keeping up with the chat. Has anybody got any burning questions they wanted to ask me? I've lost touch with the chat now. Yes, Doc does growl like Jean. She spends too much time listening to Jean. This is another finished piece, which show you something else you can do with it. This was done by the tutor though, not by me. And what she has done here, they're fragments, and it's expander print printed onto Luchador through a thermofax screen, and then it's coloured with golden fluid acrylic paints. It's rather nice, isn't it? Looks like an antiquity to me. The Luchador, by the way, the Luchador enables you to heat it and get these holes in. Then that's applied to the base, which was, I think it's Palmitoylene. Palmitoylene, you know, the pelmets on your, I think you call them drapes in the States. And that is a very useful material for use in arts and crafts. Yes, they are Janet's colours, aren't they? So, I feel as if I've rather romped through that. Not, I got so agitated at the beginning because of the not being able to get live again. I think, Denise, if you can bear it, if you look at the recording, if you listen to the recording, you will probably hear it better. If you're interested enough, I think that's the way to do it. Hi, Susan. We're really just about come to the end. I don't know whether there's anything else I can show you. I don't think there is really. Has anyone any questions? I'm sorry you couldn't hear very well. I don't understand why you can't hear so well. I don't know whether it's the internet or me. Maybe it's because I'm looking at the screen a lot rather than pointing my voice towards the camera. Do you think that could be it, Jean? Yes, Picola, I'm looking forward to stitching the indigo fabrics. Okay, well, I think given that the sound is giving you all such fits, I had better wind it up here, and I don't know whether I could do anything at this end or not. I'm using YouTube, Jean, to stream. Maybe I should try Google Chrome next time and see if that's any better. Okay, well, I think I'll wind it up here and say goodbye to everybody, and thank you all very much indeed for coming. I see that there's some different people here. Is Suke still here? Ah, Sue is an old friend from another group I belonged to for many years on Facebook. And Divine is my niece. I made her come today, even though she's been very busy entertaining her group all morning. Okay, oh, bye everybody. I'll see you probably in a fortnight's time. I don't know how much I'll be able to get done in between. Don't know how much I'll be able to get done in between now and then, because we've got our exhibition next week. Oh, Anne and I are going to the Festival of Quilts on Saturday at National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, and that should be fun. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to get myself some new expander print, because what I used today is actually beginning to go mouldy. And Art Van Gogh, who sell it in the UK, will have a stand there. Bye everyone.